Welcome back into the show, everybody. I'm Brody Wilson, and today I had a special guest for you as I interviewed Miranda Smith, who is a professional soccer player, a Canadian national champion, and had just played in Israel as the war broke out over there. So we had a very good conversation, and I hope you enjoy it. Or you had played in 4 different leagues, 4 different countries. You played in tournaments all around the world. How did you end up in Israel?
I was coming back from an injury. I was out for a year and a half, and my agents proposed Israel. And at first, I wasn't really sure. I didn't know a whole lot about the country. I had done some research on it, talked to some people who I knew that had played there, and I had heard really good things about it. So when my agents proposed it to me, I just kind of went with it.
Yeah, and how did you like it?
I actually loved it. I was only there 5 days before the war broke out. But in those 5 days, I loved the country. I loved the soccer. I really enjoyed my teammates. Yeah, it was a really great experience.
Most people haven't been to Israel or anybody that's listening to this, so I'm sure they'd be interested in kind of what the country was like.
Yeah, of course. Truthfully, I didn't actually see a whole lot, especially the first 2 days. I was kind of adjusting to the time change. So I spent the first 2 days sleeping quite a bit. So I think I only really had about 3 days to see stuff before the war started. But what I did get to see was incredible. It's very beautiful. I mean, I think a lot of their like everyday life resembles our life in North America.
Right.
But yeah, it was a beautiful country, warm, very warm, sunny,
That must have been nice
nice
coming
beach.
from Canada.
Yes, I was really excited about the warm weather and the beaches and no snow through the winter, but
Yeah. And how did the league compare?
um it was really good. I only played one game, so I can only speak off of the one game that I played, but it was a good game, high intensity, beautiful stadium facilities. Good. I thought it was a good level. It was a good place for me to be getting back into playing again.
Now, you had said that you were only there for 5 days before the initial attacks broke out. How did you find out?
So I was actually asleep, of course, because still adjusting. And my one of my roommates knocked on my door and came in and just said, "Hey, you need to get up. We're going over to the owner of the club's house. Uh, there's been an attack." And I mean, my roommates were all international players, so for all of us, it was something that we'd never experienced before. Um, and I think the owner just kind of wanted to provide comfort for us in that time. And so, yeah, she woke me up, I got dressed, and then we went straight to the owner's house.
That must have been terrifying. What was it like after that?
So well, the first day we spent there the whole time. For me, I knew it was bad when the owner and his daughter was on my team, actually both his daughters, and they were the ones saying like we haven't seen anything like this in a long time. Like this is not good. Because before the war started, I had had conversations with them just about, what it was like. Do they feel safe there? Yeah, they had said, of course there's things that go on, but for the most part, like they live normal lives. And then, so for them to be telling me that it was bad was like made it real for me, made me realize.
Eye-opening, definitely. And nobody expected that to happen, even the people in that country. So, but how did you pass the time in those 5 days?
Well, I spent a lot of time in the house with my roommates. We didn't really do a whole lot. I did go to the grocery store once, and that was crazy. It was so busy. I know people are loading up, so I think they don't have to leave the house very often. So people had like multiple shopping carts full of things. So, the grocery store was like a couple hour adventure. But Yeah, well, I spent time also trying to figure out how to leave the country because it was a little bit complicated. I think a lot of people were wanting to leave, but a lot of the main airlines were canceling their flights. Um, I spent a lot of time on the phone with my family. You know, they were obviously very concerned, family and friends, trying to reassure them that I was safe. Um, so yeah, I don't think I've ever spent so much time on my phone in my life.
What was the process of you getting out like?
Um, well, it took a lot of time researching like or looking up flights that I could get on. And also, again, most of the airlines, the main airlines that I knew, had canceled their flights. So it was a lot of smaller airlines that I had never heard of. Um, but I ended up flying to Greece and then from Greece flying home to Canada. Um, but yeah, it was quite a process because also a lot of the flights are really expensive. So of course you want to try and find the best deal, but also, I mean, the important thing is just getting out. So
Right. I'm sure the price was the least of everybody's worries at that point.
yeah, I mean, I still, it's hard on the bank accounts.
And what contact have you had, if any, with the coaches and the players since?
So we have a team group chat. It is hard for me to read because it is all in Hebrew. So I do Google Translate, but I do have some separate conversations with some of the teammates and the owner, which those are in English. Um, but I just check in to see how they're doing. They have resumed practicing, and I don't know, I don't think it's every day like it was before, but
Right.
I think it's really good. It's a good outlet to distract them from what's happening.
Absolutely. And what do you think the league is going to do moving forward?
I think it will all depend on what is happening, whether or not it's safe to resume. Because
Absolutely.
there are two teams that are really close to the war. And I don't think that the league would be willing to jeopardize anybody's safety just to play soccer.
Right. Yeah, you would like to think that the safety of the players would, take precedent over that kind of thing. But what are the chances that you go back?
I don't think that right now that's an option for me. I do think that as long as the war is going on, I just for my own like mental health and well-being and safety that I prefer to stay in North America.
Right.
It's not to say I would never go back, but I think that, you know, I'm very fortunate to be where I'm from, and that's like not something that I've ever had to experience before. So for myself, it was and still is a little bit traumatic. So I'm during when it was happening, you don't really have the time to process or freak out because it's not going to help in any way. So
And I think we take that for granted where we're from, is that we don't have to worry about things like that. So it's definitely an eye-opening situation. But what are your plans moving forward?
well, I still would love to play soccer. I don't think I'm quite ready to retire yet. So moving forward, I do want to find a team to play. I think the next window opens in January. So until then, it'll just be getting my mind set back, I did take a bit of a break when I came home just to give myself time
Right.
to heal
Process
and
everything, and
process. So
absolutely.
yeah, now it'll be about getting back, training, getting in shape, and getting my mindset ready to go somewhere else so I can be the best version of myself for my next team.
Absolutely. Well, I hope that that works out for you. I appreciate you taking the time to speak with me today, and best of luck with everything.
Thank you, you too.